Hello, it's me, Jess. Welcome to my channel. I'm here with another channeled message. This is a specific message. It might resonate with you, it might not. Okay, so this message that I'm picking up on is definitely around a soulmate connection here between a masculine and a feminine energy, and take that however it's applying to your particular situation. But this soulmate connection to me feels really cutesy and really cheeky and really fun. And I'm hearing the word banter, but I'm also seeing like that kind of glint, in someone's eye, like for the other person. But I feel like this is very mutual. It goes both ways. And I don't know if there's like a sassiness or a charm or again like a wit or a banter, some kind of shared communication style or like a shared sense of humor here between these two soulmates, but it's definitely there. And I'm hearing ease of relating. That's what it is. There's a real ease of relating here, but it's on multiple levels. And I don't know if either of these two people have experienced that before, because I feel like that's part of what they're meant to contend with here, because these are two soulmates that have agreed to come together here in this life in order to confront certain situations that they want to be put in, so that they can have an opportunity to deal with the lessons that they want to learn in this life. And for both of these people, the lessons have to do with Venus energy, although it's in different ways and it's two different levels. But they're using their soulmate connection here to kind of draw out those particular choices and those particular scenarios and situations. And that's what's playing out here. And that soulmate connection is kind of the bedrock of being able to do that. And that's where I go back to this ease of relating, because I think I'm hearing like there's an instant recognition of that, but it's instant recognition. And they're giving me that word instead of, they're comparing that to like an instant attraction, because I do think there's an instant attraction here. I just think it's on multiple levels. And again, I don't know that these two have experienced that before, but that's one thing that I feel like they're both supposed to be relating to in their own way here, is that what they're saying is that a lot of times when we meet somebody that we feel like we have some kind of strong instant connection with, it's on one level, or it might be on a couple of levels, but they're kind of saying it's primarily on one level. And I think that these two have that to compare to in their pasts. So if it is, say there's no level of attraction, or like very little, it's like, maybe you don't think that person is like hideous or something, but it's like, say there's no attraction, like physical attraction between you and another person, but there's just this real chemistry in terms of, again, the banter and the mind and the sense of humor and everything. That person, immediately that there's a strong like soulmate connection there, but you're probably going to say, well, this is a friend. This is clearly some kind of divine friend that is has been brought into my life, and they easily go into one category. It's the same thing with like physical attraction. And physical attraction does get weird because of studies have shown pretty privilege. People think that people who are attractive have other qualities and traits, so that might play into this somewhat. But if you only have that physical attraction and you really don't actually have much compatibility and chemistry on other levels, those are usually high friction relationships, but very like high drama relationships. But it's the same kind of thing where it's like, oh, okay, I know this goes into like a schmegdual romantic kind of category, right, between two people. But what happens when you experience that instant attraction on a lot of levels at once? I feel like it has the potential to confuse these two. But I think it's a softer landing is what I'm hearing, actually, than only having one level of compatibility. It actually provides a well-roundedness and like kind of a foundational energy, and it creates this kind of curiosity and maybe a comfort and like a mystique here about the other person, but it has this kind of naturally slower on-ramp is what I'm getting. But I do feel like they're meant to relate to that in some way, especially this masculine energy, because I really feel like he doesn't understand attraction, and he doesn't understand Venus energy like at all. And he definitely, I'm hearing he's never met his match before in someone. He really doesn't deal with people that are on his level. I don't think he knows that, but he doesn't really deal with people that are on his level. So this is a new experience entirely for him in particular, possibly for her as well too here. Now, these soulmates though, as they're meeting each other, there's certain things that are going on, okay, because they each have their soul lessons that they want to kind of contend with, but they are very different because as individuals, these two people have very different karmas, especially in regards of relationship. So like this feminine energy, I'm just going to keep it a buck with you. This feminine soulmate energy is much more higher vibrational than this masculine soulmate energy, especially in the realms of Venus and all the things that Venus rules over: beauty, harmony, relationship, fairness, making decisions, being broadly intelligent, comparing and contrasting certain objects options, values and principles, peace and harmony. This feminine is she's very upright in regards of those energies, and she has very good karmas when it comes to the kinds of relationships that she chooses and that she invests in and that she builds and she fosters. This is kind of her superpower. But the karmas that she needs to understand is she needs to see that in herself, even in the face of a mirror where somebody is not honoring that energy in her, which this masculine is in perfect position to do, because where her Venus energies are very strong, his are almost non-existent, is what I want to say, because I'm seeing the Venus energy in this man's space. And to me, first of all, I'm seeing a lot of women just like, it's in a dingy place, I don't know, and but I'm seeing them covered in soot. I'm seeing the whole Venus area, and Venus, again, the planet of beauty, this is covered in soot, which to me, it's like karmas. There's a lot to be cleared up here, and it's because this man doesn't understand Venus. He only understands Mars, is what I'm hearing. So he shows up as Mars and in the realms of Venus. So when he's choosing so Mars energy in this instance, it's very selfish, it's warlike, it's competitive, it rules over competition. So this man approaches decisions, what he values in the world, his partnerships, fairness, conversations. He approaches those things with a sense of strategy, a sense of selfishness. I just heard the word extortion. So this man kind of has a very negative relationship with the planet Venus. Okay, it's going to come through in these different relationships, but because he tries to extort Venus, that's how he thinks to get value, is by extracting it through this very selfish approach, this very strategic approach. It's like you got to have a strategy for everything. And he wants to profit where Venus is concerned, instead of approaching Venus in that natural Venusian energy of how do I build value, or how do I not destroy value? How do I contribute to the value in a situation, which is going to get that natural volley going back and forth that he has with his soulmate energy. So this is on offer here. It's on offer for him to get to know Venus. And I think this is actually very matchy-matchy in terms of the decisions, because remember, Venus rules over decisions. He needs to make a decision here that this is valuable, this partner, this soulmate feminine, this is different, because he's supposed to recognize that this is different. There is, even if he doesn't know what it is, he knows it is different. It feels different, and he needs to value that difference, and then he needs to invest. That's another Venus word, right? So he needs to choose to value this, and then he's going to choose to get to know Venus and choose to get to know his soulmate. And that's going to help him clear up his karmas. And there is a path here to that, and that path leads up to a midpoint energy, okay? Between these two. So we started out at this preliminary energy, which I think a lot of you are at currently, but this is building between these two soulmates to some kind of a midpoint threshold energy. And the word midpoint really only brings up more questions for me than answers, because it's like midpoint between what and what. And I really do think that's going to be different for every single one of you, because for some of you, this is like a lifelong thing that you're working out. Maybe it's that level of soulmate. I don't know. So this could be midlife. I just heard midlife crisis for this masculine, but this would be a reckoning with Venus. A reckoning of his values, of his choices, of the conversations he did or did not have, of who he valued and who he didn't. It could be that level of crisis for some, but for some, this is midpoint in your relationship, and that'll be different. For some, that could mean years, and for others, this is in quicker succession. So there's this midpoint energy between these two soulmates, where the energy here and the perceptions here, it's gonna flip in some kind of major way. And that flipping is the karmas here that they have agreed to work out, that's actually being snapped back into some kind of balance, especially if he's not working on it over time. Because this feminine is in her karmas would be much more gentle, because she doesn't have as many of them. It's this steep cliff over here with this masculine. So he's either going to work on it, building it. He's got to learn how to be in some builder energy versus some saboteur energy. We get that a lot, right? So he's either building it all the way up to the midpoint, and that midpoint flip is probably just going to be some kind of oh my gosh, some kind of casual realization that everything is all of a sudden different now, that he has exactly the life that he wants. And it's that unanswered prayers energy by Garth Brooks. Sometimes I thank God for unanswered prayers. And, then and there, I thank the good Lord for the gifts in my life. It's either going to be that subtle energy if he takes the path with this soulmate, or it's going to be flipped in a hard, extreme way. And this flipping has to do with the power dynamics in the situation. I think it's going to be very clear that she's in her power, this soulmate, because that's her karmic lesson is to take her power back, because she's the value in the situation. And regardless of how this man handles himself in the face of her, and whether he is going to reflect that value back, that's his choice. She's valuable, and she's beautiful, and she is harmonious. And whether or not he can pick up on that and honor that in his choices and in his values, that's on him. That's a him issue. And she needs to understand that, right? And that's what she's going to learn, is that she has a lot to offer. And when people don't choose you, that doesn't mean that it's because you are not good enough, because she is his match here. She's showing up as his Venus. So his choices almost have nothing to do with her. It has everything to do with him and his own internal stuff that he's got to work out. She's got to learn that about that. But the power dynamics are going to flip, and the desire energy is going to flip, because this Venus energy, there's sustainability here. But as this female soulmate grows into herself more and more, she's going to grow into her Venus, because she's upright in that Empress energy. She's either already in her Empress energy, or she's like an Empress in the making. And the more she grows into herself, the more she's going to embody this man's Venus, his values, his idea of beauty, that partnership in relationship, right? So that desire energy is going to flip in a big way here as well. And that's all of that is the karmic energies here, adjusting and rebalancing. Now, adjusting and rebalancing from what? Okay, I'm so glad you asked. Now let's take a look at what's going on here on this masculine side of things, because I do feel like at the time of their meeting, which again, for some of you is like happening right now, this is in some way being hidden from this female soulmate, so that he has an opportunity to confront these situations and these decisions in his own realm, in his own life. And though he's got many more decisions that he's got to make, in part because I think he's got situations going on here in the back burner. Right? So at first it's going to be kind of hidden for her, because it's giving him time to confront this. But this is so touchy between the two of them, because they each have very specific karmas that they want to bring out here. But because her karmas are so good, it's like he's not allowed to hurt her in certain ways. Like he will hurt her, because if she's ignoring the red flags with him, and if what's on offer here is this Mars energy, and she's mistaking it for Venus, because she would just be deluding herself, then that's where she's going to get hurt, and she's going to get left out in the cold for somebody that frankly won't hold a candle to her. And I don't care what that person looks like or what kind of job they have. They don't hold a candle to her, and it's going to hurt her. And then she's going to have to work through her karmas the hard way, where she's going to have to realize that actually she did have everything to offer, and that it wasn't because of anything lacking in her. And still that midpoint energy is going to come. This man will come back around, realizing what he's done and wanting to apologize. He will, because that's just the way, that this is going to go. But I digress. So over here on this masculine side, essentially he's very insecure, which is why he operates in the realm of Venus in his Martian energy, because Venus has to do with value, and it has to do with abundance. It has to be beautiful, and I think really at the core, this man wants to be chosen in a way that reflects his value. He does want that. It's almost like he's in some pick-me energy, to be honest, but he's covering that up with this machoism, or with this kind of Mars energy, which I've already kind of described again, the selfishness, the competition, whatever. But this man, the way that he sets his relationship life up, the way he navigates Venus, I would describe him like a split level house. And I've used this metaphor in a reading way long ago in the past, and it holds true here, but again, in a different way, because for this man, it's how he approaches love and relationships. So a split level house is when you walk in and there's that tiny square patch of landing where you can hang up your coat, you can take off your shoes, but there's not much room there. And that's actually the mid-level. And that represents the middle way. It represents his level, which I told you, remember, the soulmate energy comes in on his level. She is his match. He's not used to dealing with that. He is used to funneling people into these categories of higher than him, pedestaling people, in other words, which is a function of insecurity, or lower than him. And that's him doing that, not me. So he sorts people in this categorization process. So he reduces and minimizes. That's sin number one with Venus. You can see why he's got such a nasty reputation with Venus herself, honey, because Venus is the whole is greater than the sum of its parts. So when you're analyzing the value of a woman, especially, or her beauty or whatever, you don't pick it apart. That's not where it makes sense. It's the whole kind of package. But this man is reducing things down, and he's zeroing in on certain things. And whatever those things are, it's going to be specific for each one of these men, because it has to do with where he himself feels lacking, because he wants to compete. So he's he reduces things down. Again, in order to do this, he reduces and minimizes in order to do this, throwing things in a certain bin, this categorization function. So that's step one, where he's already off track. This is not how you make decisions. You have to be broadly intelligent. You have to know a lot of things about a lot of things, and you need to know how to pursue that knowledge so that you can compare and contrast in a way that is helpful. And what I think this man needs to be comparing and contrasting is the energy, the alchemy between two people. Love is about a partnership. It's about an alchemy. And he's just, because he's so competitive in love, he looks at only his partner and he doesn't look at himself. He doesn't look how he feels, because there's an immense alchemy between him and this soulmate energy. It feels different. And I'm hearing from Mulan, it's like, you don't meet a girl like that every dynasty, right? This level of compatibility. So he's got to identify that. He has to identify it as valuable. And that's another karmic lesson here, because pedestaling people like he does with some people and then trying to chase after them, that's much different than just assessing the actual value of a situation and then treating that value like it's valuable. You take care of something if you think that it's valuable, you know? You don't want to risk it. You don't want to lose it. And that's what he needs to be doing with this soulmate relationship. And it's because the blend of him and this soulmate energy is very rare. And it has this, she's special to him. You know, like her energy combines in a special way with him. He's got to understand that. But he would have to consider himself. And that goes back to the split level house thing. Because that middle level, that is his level, it's very small. Which tells me that this man doesn't really take much time for himself. He doesn't maybe spend much time alone. He doesn't work on himself. He doesn't reflect. He doesn't consider himself. He doesn't debrief after relationships. This is definitely a man who's, I think, in multiple quote unquote relationships. This man has never been in a relationship in his life. I think he misuses that word. This man could even tell you like, well, yeah, that's my ex-girlfriend, or, you know, we dated for 2 or 3 years. This man could have a whole ass wife. He's never been in a relationship. He doesn't know how to have one. It's this games. That's all he does. He just knows how to be Mars. Very selfish. He just knows how to compete for attention, strategize, compete, play mind games. That's all he knows. That's not a relationship. Okay, so he's been in someone else's proximity and has maybe had a ring on his finger for X amount of years, but that a relationship does not make. That is a karmic lesson that's being played out here, especially if he disrespected the soulmate connection. So again, there's no middle tier, and instead he's going to go upwards or he's going to go downwards. And honestly, he uses one to support the other, because in this split level metaphor that I'm using, that basement is going to be that foundational structure that's going to support that higher one. And that's exactly what he's doing, okay? And keep in mind, this is him doing this, not me. So just for ease of communicating, I'm going to say like a lower tier karmic and a higher tier karmic here. And I think he's dealing with both of these people whenever he meets this soulmate connection. Well, actually, I think he's dealing with the lower tier karmic, like on the daily. I think that's who he's sleeping with and potentially like shacked up with, because remember, he tries to extract value out of Venus. So these lower tier relationships serve him, because this is this structure here, where he's got this mid tier and then he's got the lower tier karmics and the higher tier karmics, right? It always means that there's some level of power dynamic in his relationships. And this is his karma to work out, because this is really the only way that this is coping. And I imagine there's some kind of addiction to this playing in here. But this is the only way this man has figured out that he can maintain some level of stability in his life. Because remember, I told you, this man wants harmony. He wants value. He wants to be chosen. He wants peace. And he wants, but he doesn't know how to get there. This is the only way his mind has found. And it's deeply dysfunctional. And it's disrespectful to everyone, including himself. This is unhealthy any which way you spin it. And still, I think he tries to taunt this or show off with this. Like, this makes him cool. This makes him dysfunctional, and it makes him dangerous. And let's just keep it a buck. I feel like I don't like that society is like, hoorah, like, oh, that's so cool of you. No, it's not. You lack integrity and self-discipline. That's the easiest thing to do. I could go out in the streets right now and make a mess of my life. It'd be the easiest thing I did. No, thank you. It's not impressive. This man is not impressive. So, and I'm sorry, because I can tell that he's your soulmate, but really this man has no self-discipline, and it's going to cost him a lot. And it has cost him a lot in previous lives. So anyways, like I said, I think he's actually dealing with this lower tier karmic at the time of meeting this soulmate on the regs, okay? And he's doing that in order to extract some kind of value from Venus, whatever Venus he's dealing with on that lower tier, which is probably schmegs. And maybe for some, this is a homosexual. Like, this could be housing and accommodation, her labor of maybe she does his laundry, packs his lunch, you know. Maybe she helps him process his emotions. She listens to him. She's trying to pour into his relationship. He knows he can take advantage of her, and that he can count on her to do that, because he likes the power dynamic. He recognizes very astutely that she puts him on a pedestal, and that she thinks that he is out of her league in some way. He picks up on that very readily. He knows that he's of a higher level of attractiveness than she is, or that he has a better job than the people that she usually dates. And it makes her more pliable to him. It makes her not stand up for herself, be a doormat. It makes her put up with bad behavior because she's just ecstatic when he comes around. And she blinds herself for the reasons why he's there, because I think it would be very painful for her to admit that she's being used in the situation. Now he's using her as a stepping stone until he can go after somebody that he finds to be higher value. And also he likes competition. He likes to be fought over because he thinks that gives him a leg up. Not with this soulmate, it doesn't. It's going to cause this soulmate is very Venusian, very fair, very love-oriented, very value-oriented, wants to build with somebody, doesn't want to be with a child. And so that's also another place where he can go wrong with the soulmate, is by trying to tap one of these two karmics that he's dealing with to flaunt in front of her to try to get her to compete. I think what she's going to do is she's going to cut him off. Or at least that's her karmic choice, because she needs to see her value and she needs to protect herself from being hurt in the situation. And she needs to protect her resources potentially as well, because she's got resources here. And she needs to see that she does, that she's valuable. She's the prize over here. I mean, everybody that involves with this masculine has a karmic lesson about their Venus energy here, because he doesn't understand it and he disrespects it and he takes advantage of it and he's trying to exploit it. So even like this lower tier karmic, it's like this karmic needs to wake up to their value, because frankly, he might well be more attractive. He might well have a better job, but she's bringing more value to the table than he is, and she needs to recognize that, and she needs to recognize that he's building on her hard work and he's just taking advantage of her. So that's how she wakes up out of the cycle, right? And he's doing that because he's trying to, I think, social climb, and he's chasing after this other higher tier karmic from his past. And I do feel like it's a spottier connection between the two of them, and she just really plays on his mind. There's a lot of desire for this higher value karmic, and there's an obsession with the look of her, because again, he thinks about the status of it. This is a man that wants to compete, and he wants to by the people that he has. So part of the competing is competing with other males with the attractiveness of the partner that he has and the money that they have and everything. So you're going to really lose yourself astray here. See how this is creating lots of blind spots? See how but this is his karma, right? Because this is not where happiness lies. That's not what he's focused on. And I think this man thinks, because he's insecure, he thinks that that happiness comes from getting status. Well, no, it doesn't. And I bet like this midlife crisis will have something to do with that. Like, oh my God, I've just debased myself every which way, and I don't have happiness, and my whole life is crashed and burned, and I have no value to my name. That's because he disrespects Venus, the planet of value, at every turn. So don't be surprised when you have none, right? Like, you got to play. You want to go into Venusian spaces. You want the fruits that Venus has to offer. Baby, you going to play nice with Venus, okay? And he doesn't. So, and this karmic, this high value karmic, is Mars, like him. And that's where they reflect. Because I'm seeing like there's a karmic question that lies like for this soulmate feminine towards this masculine. It's depending on who he chooses to be here, very Venusian term, she needs to say, the question to her is, can you see that this isn't Venus if he's not showing up as Venus? Can you see instead this is like a Mars in Libra? No offense to anybody who has Mars in Libra, but that's kind of the energy that I'm getting here, where, you know, Mars in Libra is kind of these people are trying to mimic him and this high value karmic, both of them. They're trying to mimic that Venusian energy because they think that Mars in Libra plus Mars in the domain of Libra equals Venusian energy, that they can exploit and strategize, compete their way to value through relationships. Both of them seek to profit through their relationships, and both are incredibly selfish in their relationships. They would easily fool other people because that Mars is skillful, okay, and it's sexual, and it is to do with the body, and it's warlike. It rules over strategy. So there's skill and strategy here. So these people, both of them, can be very convincing in trying to pull off, oh, I'm this perfect person to be in a partnership with. And I think they've duped quite a few people. That's why they're kind of karmic tests for people. Now, it just so happens, and I think their storylines are very much mirrored, because I can see that there's a functioning dysfunction between this, like what I'm calling the soulmate masculine here, that's in some heavily karmic energy, but this soulmate masculine and this higher tier karmic feminine. I think there's quite a lot of mirroring in their story, because I think she is kind of, again, similar to him. She's this Mars in Libra. She doesn't honor Venus. She's only Mars, but she likes to pass herself off as Venus in order to profit from her relationships. And I think she's got a soulmate masculine on her side of things. And basically, But they need to play nice with Venus, so they need to be fair. They need to be committed in their relationships. They need to be having conversations and working things out with their partner. Instead, this is an attention game, and they try to manufacture value through competition. They like to introduce that dramatic level of competition, and I think they might be addicted to it, both of them, which is why they're dealing with each other. So there's a functioning dysfunction here just in being in communication. And for some, this spirit guide may intervene just because this masculine is in communication with this high value karmic. Because I think for some where this went wrong is this masculine doth protested too much to this high value karmic. He just couldn't help himself where this soulmate is concerned, because this soulmate is in some very healthy energy towards him. And by the way, men are kind of known for this. There was a study where men overestimate how attracted a woman is to them. So I can see this soulmate again is on his level. She is his match. And he may well have, if he was in communication with this top, high tier karmic, and he thinks she's better than everybody for superficial reasons, it's because of the look of her or something he thinks he can attach himself to. And it's not because of the relationship between the two of them or her inner beauty, because I don't think she has it, to be honest. She needs to cultivate that. That's why part of why she's not showing up as Venus. I think she's very self-absorbed. She's showing up as the Empress in reverse. And I think for some, this high tier karmic here may well be married. She's shown herself in some way to him to be the Empress in reverse, which is part of his karmic test. Okay, like this, she doesn't have that Venus energy. She's shown it. It is known here to him. And so that's part of the test here, because he shouldn't even be in communication with her. And I think there's something anti-Venus, anti-love, anti-fair. It's not fair, it's not loving, it's not moral, it's not virtuous, it's not in alignment with his values, I think. So again, Venus test. So the very fact that he is communicating with this karmic this could get pulled, which means something here may well be exposed so that this soulmate feminine can see that he's Mars and he's not Venus, so that she can make her decision to move away. That's going to potentially call time here, because I just don't think this man could help himself, because he likes when women compete over him, first of all, and he can bait this karmic into competition because she likes attention and he knows it. And she would feel threatened by this soulmate feminine. And he knows that. Now here's where he gets really strategic, because I don't know that if he's sleeping with the soulmate feminine. I kind of feel like for a lot of you he's not, or if that has happened, it's very new, it's very fresh, and it doesn't mean what he thinks it means, because she's very eyes wide open in this situation, and she's gonna make sure she's valued in this situation. Like she's not obsessed with him, you know? She's not chasing after him. She's very sovereign and she's very independent in her energy. And he needs to throw some respect on her name, but I don't think that's what's going on, because he's so blinded by chasing after this high value karmic. I think he's actually sleeping with this lower tier karmic, but he knows that she doesn't have it to make this high value karmic jealous. He knows she's not pretty enough. He knows that she's not in whatever job, he knows that if he would try to parade around this lower value karmic in front of this top tier karmic, that maybe the top tier karmic would laugh or even think less of him. Like, oh, I thought you had other options, and here, that's what you messing around with? It's gonna have the opposite effect. So here's where he doth protested too much, because the moment that he met this soulmate and there was this connection, instead of honoring that and realizing, oh my gosh, I actually have this interest in this other person, let me explore that. I think he wanted to be strategic with it, and so I think he mentioned it because they're in communication. I think he mentioned it to this because he wanted to sleep with her, this high value, this top tier karmic, because the connection between the two of them, I almost think X is too strong of a word here. I think they have an Eight of Wands connection as well, but this is unstable, and they've known each other for a while. So you've got Eight of Wands here between this masculine and this soulmate feminine. But this is preliminary, and that's healthy, and it's chemistry, and it's exciting, and it's that new kind of energy, and it's appropriate here. These people have known each other for a while. They have a very low vibrational, competitive, selfish approach to love, both of them, and it's just very superficial energy. And it's very spotty here between the two of them as well. But I think that they've fallen into bed together in the past. That's what I think. At least once, but I think more than once. And I think it put an end to that friendship. This, I think, on a karmic level, maybe should have been a friendship. This masculine may well know who this person is in a relationship with, this top tier karmic. And his soulmate connection is with that man. And he needs to be supporting that man. Because this karmic is not doing that man right. And this is a good man, by the way, as well. So he needs to be supporting them. And that'll have devastating consequences, potentially to a friend group, or because there's people that need this soulmate masculine around. Not this soulmate masculine, I'm sorry. Whoever she's with that's actually a good person. and maybe trust this man around his woman and maybe his kids or something. And that's what I'm saying. He's not operating from a place of value and virtue, this soulmate masculine. He's not. So I think he ran his mouth to this top tier karmic. Mentioned, he knew what he was doing. He knew what he was doing because he can incite competition here to get what he wants, and he wants to sleep with her. He wants them to fall in bed again. And there could be travel here as well. So he might want her, he might think that she's going to travel just because she can compare herself to this soulmate feminine. And she will be, it's going to trigger her desire to compete here. It's going to. Even if she thinks she's more whatever, beautiful or whatever. The chemistry between these two cannot be denied. And that's the other thing that I forgot to mention here is like everybody around can see like the connectivity between these two soulmates, and it's bringing out their own karmic lessons. And there are people that want this soulmate feminine, but they can very clearly see the connection between these two. And this man, remember, he likes to compete, and he likes to compete with other males. So I think he might be flashing and showing off that, oh yeah, like I'm texting this one, and isn't she hot? And I'm sleeping with this other one, and clearly I got the chemistry with this other one. And I think he's flashing it around, and these guys around him are just letting him dig his own grave, and they know exactly what they're doing too, because they want a shot at this soulmate feminine. And for some of them, they might have even slept with this top tier karmic as well, or even this lower tier karmic as well, and they don't think it's stable, and they think he's kind of dumb for chasing after that person. Like, it is what it is kind of thing. Like, why are you so obsessed? Some of them have also slept with this top tier karmic, or introduced them even, or they can just see what it is. And he can't see it, but he wants to be seen as cool. And so they're egging him on because all they need is collateral. All they need is collateral because they want a shot at this soulmate feminine. And the chemistry between these two alone, that is obvious for everyone to see, was keeping these other men like away. And that's part of reflecting her own value back to her, because that's her soulmate lesson here. So if this man messes up, she's going to have dates. She's going to have offers that are coming in here because she's the prize. She's Venus. And this is somebody that you can actually have something real with. This is the whole package here. And these other men can kind of see it. And they just want this man to step in it so bad. And all they have to know is who he's sleeping with. So all they need to do is to be able to tell this soulmate feminine who he's sleeping with. And they know that she's going to not be interested because they can see she's Venus and that she has standards, not just for herself, but for her partners. They can see it. So there's karmas that are going on. And right now, the chemistry alone, but because he thinks he's cool, they're like, I cannot believe this man is about to tank this. Thank you, Jesus. Like, because then I actually get a shot at her. That's really what it is. So yeah. And if he thinks he's going to draw this feminine energy, I think he's going to be very surprised that this doesn't work. That she's going to, at some point in this cycle, she's going to learn her value and she's going to move away. Because he's eventually going to realize that that's where it's at. That's actually hot. That does it for him. She does it for him. And that he should have respected her all along. And that he should have mirrored back that she's valuable and that she's worth investing in. And that's a big question karmically that hangs over him, right? Venus, where do you see value and where do you invest? With equal give and take. And this man, I don't think, is looking at it like that because he's strategic and he's selfish. So he's trying to say, how can I extract the most from like these Venusian energies, right? So if I play my cards right, I can stop by this one's house and then go over here. And then, this is a man who will change your pH, if not worse. Please be careful. Please be safe. But he is going to lose out on the biggest value of all here. And it's because it's where he's investing. That's a karmic energy here, because the grass is green where you water it. And so it's, where do you invest your time? So which one of these people are you texting throughout the day? Which one are you getting to know? Where are you after 5 p.m.? Who are you buying dinner for? Who are you sharing conversation with? Oh, Venus's conversation. Who are you sharing conversation with all throughout the day, texting, over dinner? Where are you building that value? And that, for some, that's what this soulmate feminine, when she's judging this man to see if he's honoring her value and then if he's choosing her, where is he? If it's like if he drops off the map for ages at a time, you don't need to know what he's doing to know that he doesn't value you enough, because this is a hot little mama. Okay, she's got it going on. She's the total package. And why can everybody else in the room see it? Everybody thinks this man's stupid. I'm just going to put it plainly. Everybody is like, I cannot believe this man has a shot with this. I can't believe that this man would discover this in this lifetime. I can't believe he's fucking that little thing over there when he could be having that. I can't believe that he thinks this person is at all interested in him in any way that's going to be long-term or sustainable. This person is just self-absorbed and they only come around whenever he's got to bait them back in. I can't believe he doesn't see it. There's a lot of people here who just think this man is really stupid and that he's gambling with something he should not be gambling with. Oh, I think there's been conversation about it. I just heard actually amongst men and women. So it tells me that there's people here that know what's going on. And this soulmate feminine will know as well. So where is he investing? And if it's not over here, then I feel like you need to know that it's painful. It's disrespect. It's disrespect. He's not playing fair. Venus is fairness. Venus is diplomacy. And Mars in Libra does not Venus make. And again, I feel like that is kind of a karmic test over here for this feminine. Can you see that this is Mars in Libra? This is strategy in relationships. This man wants to have his cake and eat it too. Can you see that this is disrespectful? Can you see upon this rock you shall not build your church? Kind of thing. That would be reckless. That would be foolish. He's got a shot here to be something different and to learn something different. And then he would be repairing his karmas with Venus, which Venus got a temper, yeah. So I don't think this is going to go well for this man. In terms of the realms of Venus, if he's not playing nice with Venus energies, Yeah, it's too selfish. He's too selfish here. And this soulmate feminine needs to be more considerate of herself. She needs to be more selfish in a sense. Because she's got, like I said, she's got things to protect, even if it's her own pride and her own self-esteem. Because this is a real love between these two, or it's got the potential to be. And it's unfair that everybody knows that he's been disrespecting her. No. So yeah, that's what I have. I feel like I am seeing this card in my mind. It's Deuce's card in one of my deck, cutting ties or fed up. I think this is the way this is going to end. But this masculine has an option to say goodbye to his negative connections and this negative way of being, and to recognize again that this is something different and that he needs to learn a different way of relating and to be willing and curious and interested in kind of following this white rabbit down the hole. might literally be, right? But anyways, yeah. And that hurt energy is going to flip here as well. So, all right, that's what I have for you. If that resonates, please like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. Bye, guys.